Today's a good day to stop giving a fuck. All the things that keep.
Yes, misandry levels are rising, but what I've noticed is that there are select individuals out there who apparently choose to either live with their heads permanently lodged in a particular orifice, or possibly in the sand, are not realizing that increased levels of misandry create increased levels of misogyny. And let's be very clear, misandry is a form of bigotry. And why anyone would be proud of being bigoted against an entire demographic of people, I have no idea. But yet we have reached that point in time when there are individuals out there that are very proud about hating someone for a characteristic about themselves that they cannot control. So yes, it's time to celebrate the times that we live in, because the internet has made bigots very much out there for everyone to see and to truly enjoy watching.
And what's crazy is a lot of these women who say stuff like this have that same silly look on their face as if they didn't just say something that was profoundly stupid.
Well, this particular gentleman's comment isn't very nice, now is it? Doesn't seem like they like me very much. I'm heartbroken. But this is yet another unfortunate example of how some men, and I must reiterate that, some men still think that this is an acceptable way, apparently, to talk about another person, in this case, a woman. Because there are some men out there that when they don't like something a woman says, or something about her, will immediately try to disparage their character, or in this case, go after their virtue. I mean, really, what time period are we living in? Seriously. But I guess they haven't seen some of the many videos in which I have called out men's poor or unacceptable behavior, and we will just add this video to that line of content as well. Because talking like this to or about any person really isn't acceptable. If a person doesn't have a valid counter-argument to anything that that person has to say, perhaps the best thing would just be to remain silent.
Men do not long. They do not look back at old relationships. They do not think about their ex-girlfriends after they are done with them. That is a myth. It does not exist.
Real quick, before we get into this, wouldn't it just be a whole lot easier for the poster to admit that they know nothing about men?
Men do not have object permanence.
Oh, it's getting better.
And what do they see women as? Exactly. The idea of a man looking back at a relationship and regretting how he treated a woman, or regretting breaking up with a woman and wishing he had done things differently, and wishing he had treated her better and cherished her, that does not exist. That is not real.
It actually sounds like someone's upset that their ex didn't come crawling back.
If a man has broken up with you, it is because 9 times out of 10, he has seen you as not good enough for him.
Who wants to tell her?
And because of that, because he sees you that way, in his mind, his behavior, no matter how horrendous, will always be slightly justified.
I guess there's a possibility that this could be satire.
Because we teach men that they will just know how to act once they meet the right woman. So if they didn't act right, it must have been kind of your fault a little bit. And I want to disclaim that this isn't just like a men's behavior type video.
Thank goodness for that disclaimer, otherwise we would have never known.
I want to take like a pretty morally neutral standpoint on like that behavior, because like good men act that way, bad men act that way, it's whatever. This is more targeted toward women so that they can just release the hope that they might have that men regret the things they do to us.
I truly love it when people go in depth into subjects, especially on the internet, in which they apparently have no idea what they're talking about. Why is one always hearing about it? That's actually an excellent question. I'm so glad that one asked. And hopefully I'm here to provide some answers. One is always hearing about it, because apparently it bears repeating. Because obviously there are individuals out there that are not willing to listen to what men are saying in regards to how they in fact do suffer in silence. Because in case one wasn't aware, it has been perpetuated in society for almost as long as anyone can remember that men must remain stoic, strong at all times, or else they appear to be less manly. Now, individuals out there do seem to perpetuate this idea, men as well as women. And those men that actually stand up for themselves and are tired of being walked on and actually express their feelings and their emotions and the experiences they've been through are being called names. And then there's videos like this that actually make it even harder for men to express themselves and for them to be taken seriously. So perhaps instead of asking questions, perhaps one should start listening.
Women get hate constantly for doing nothing.
I guess that makes them finally equal to men then.
So I may as well be a bit.
I mean, that's definitely an option, but I very seriously don't recommend it.
Tell me why I get so mad when an ugly man approaches me or tries to hit on me.
There's a couple of possibilities here. The first one being, and honestly the most often overlooked one is that a lot of guys that aren't considered to be as traditionally attractive as others are used to getting rejected by women. So therefore, they quite often will shoot their shot with a woman that they find attractive. Why? Because at worst, they're just going to get rejected like they usually do, but at best, at least they can say that they shot their shot, and maybe there's a possibility that she'll be interested, but they're never going to know unless they try. But then there's the other reason.
Like, the audacity, like, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
And that reason is one that a lot of individuals might have problems facing up to, is that individual might actually be on one's equal attractiveness level, and one just had an entirely overinflated sense of how good one looks the entire time.
Ladies, if you are beautiful, smart, and successful, you will have by far the hardest time in dating.
Sure, that is what some women have to tell themselves.
And it's not because you're lacking in any way. In fact, it's the opposite.
Oh, do tell.
As you've probably experienced, many men think they want a confident, independent woman, but when it comes down to actually meeting one, it's a whole different story.
Really? That statement right there tells me that one actually hasn't been listening to what men actually say that they do want.
These men know that you don't need them in a traditional sense, so unless they're extremely secure, which most people are not,
Is that the voice of experience speaking?
brings up a ton of insecurities for them and challenges their masculinity.
No, it doesn't. But if one wants to continue telling us that one doesn't actually know anything about what men actually want, then by all means, continue.
They know you don't need them, they may feel some lack of control over the situation and be afraid that you're gonna leave them for someone better. Some of these men might even resent you and feel kind of competitive with you. In any case, a lot of these men end up deciding that they'd rather commit to a woman who seems less challenging to them and ultimately less threatening to their ego.
Okay, it's time for a bit of brutal honesty here, which I know.
Yeah, men are worried about a woman sitting up there arguing all day and not giving them peace. Men are concerned and insecure about a woman that does not know when to be quiet. Men are aware and afraid that if this type of independent woman gets in their house, they will tear up everything that the man has built, and he just doesn't have time for that.
It's going to hurt some women's feelings, but it doesn't matter how beautiful, independent, or strong a woman is. At the end of the day, if she has a bad attitude that doesn't do anything to bring any sort of joy, happiness, or peace to a man's life, that woman isn't worth that man's time. It doesn't matter what a woman wants to tell herself, but if her attitude is crap, then that man isn't going to choose her. I'm sorry, ladies, but that's the truth.
You know, as someone that picked the bear over cis men,
Just say men. It's really not that hard.
and as somebody that knows, like, a lot of people that have also picked the bear over cis men,
So I see we're going with the bandwagon policy here.
I've actually never heard anyone say, F all men, they're all scum.
Then obviously one doesn't watch a lot of social media.
Not even one time, actually.
It must be nice to live in a protected little bubble.
So, I don't know, that hasn't been my experience, but I'm sorry to hear that that has been your experience.
That has actually been the experience of a great many people, men as well as women, probably far more than one can possibly imagine.
I think that maybe you should try surrounding yourself with more positive people. It seems like it might be a you issue.
What's it like, truly, to live such a sheltered existence and not actually want to take into consideration another person's feelings and their experiences, and just decide to try to blame that individual for not surrounding themselves with enough positive people? My goodness, do try to get out more. Talk about ungrateful. There are many women out there that would just love to get flowers. They would love for their man to think about them, but one is complaining about the price of the gift that one received. It's no small wonder that a lot of men have stopped giving flowers altogether.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy.
I have a much better idea. How about we just normalize not using people?
I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you.
Oh, they sure tried, didn't they? But should we bring up the subjects about the things that women used to do that actually used to make them worthy of being loyal to? Or is that a conversation we're not ready for?
I recently was going on dates with a man, and nice guy, good guy, treated me well. But
what?
Once I realized that he was not my husband, because I'm only looking for husband energy at the moment, I ended things with him, and I sent him a text, because it wasn't that serious, I didn't feel like I needed to do it in person. Anyway, sent him a text.
The breakup text. Classic.
Told him that I didn't see it going any further, and he agreed. He said that he didn't think that he could make me happy. And while I appreciate that, it was a very kind response.
Wait, where is this going?
He didn't even try. He didn't even try and say that he like wanted to change, that he wanted to like whatever.
Why would he? And why should he? It sounds like he got the better end of the deal. Yet one seems to be complaining that someone is not fighting to stay with someone who obviously doesn't want to be with them.
Like, I can be manipulated. I will listen to you. But you didn't even try.
And I believe we all can see why.
Men will really do anything to avoid having to take accountability.
I think by now many people are aware of how much I truly love a good generalization, although it's come to my attention that some individuals don't know what a generalization is. Please see the following.
I shared an interaction that I had yesterday with just a random strange man out at a store. He approached me, he offered me something, I politely declined, and he got frustrated with me, he threw his hands up at me, and I was like, wow, that is what women deal with on a daily basis. Like,
so naturally, that one encounter, even if it was a handful of encounters, would lead any reasonable person to come to the conclusion that the majority of men lack the ability to take accountability. Of course.
This is why women don't let men come up and approach them. This is why we ignore men, we walk away. This is why we feel unsafe.
I've always found it rather amusing when one person would go so far as to speak for an entire gender.
And the men are just in the comment section, just making every excuse they can to excuse this man's behavior and other men like him. He could have just been having a bad day. He was trying to do something nice for you. You're just ungrateful. He could have been going through something personal. You don't know his life. He could have been mentally impaired. Anything they could think of to excuse this man's actions when he clearly overreacted. And they could have just said, oh yeah, that was an overreaction.
Kind of like something else I could mention.
Hey, wow, that was such a weird interaction. I'm rude, I'm ungrateful, I'm petty, I'm insecure. I just hate all men, and I was looking for any excuse to hate men. I made the story up. It didn't even happen. I just needed attention. I needed to feel validated. Women get one reaction. Men get another.
The fact of the matter is, one wishes that that was true, because then that would actually justify one generalizing an entire other gender.
The man threw his hands up and walked away. You make it seem like he cussed you out. I'm not saying that he was right for doing that. I'm just saying he threw his hands up and walked away. The man didn't sit there and go back and forth with you. What are you talking about?
Hear me out. Girls should be getting a paycheck every single month from the government for simply just existing.
Why?
Why? Because we have way more essential things that we have to buy, and I don't think it's fair that we have to buy those with our own money.
I wonder, where do they think all this free money is going to come from?
Also, we like to shop way more than men do, so it's only fair that we get a paycheck every month.
They really do, walk among us, don't they?
Attractive women are cheated on the most.
Is that so?
You want to know why your partner cheated on you with someone that was nowhere near as attractive as you? Because it boosted her ego to get with your man.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Usually there would be some blame laid with the guy for making a decision to cheat, but instead we're blaming the other woman? Well, that's nothing if not, I suppose, somewhat predictable.
She's jealous of you, your looks, and everything about you.
Again, who made the decision to cheat here?
When she first saw you two together, she thought to herself, how the hell did he get her? And there are so many of these women out there that target guys just because their girlfriend is attractive. Nothing boosts their ego more than to get with that guy.
Yeah, there are women out there like that. Yet, we're blaming the woman? Okay.
And attractive women do have a habit of dating guys that are only with them for their looks.
And that would be their mistake in choosing to be with someone who is so superficial.
And guys that are like this are very heartless.
Oh, now we're getting to it.
And on top of that, him dating you in the first place is what boosted his ego to then believe that he can get other women.
Just a thought here, but if more individuals actually started pursuing partners based on who they were as people, not primarily just on what they look like, they might have more successful relationships with less cheating.
Remember, as a woman, you have the power to create life.
Is that so? And here I thought that took two people.
You and God have that in common.
No, I'm not a religious person, but I have studied quite a few religions, and while I'm no expert, the last time that I checked, in most cases, God and whatever religion most people believe in usually didn't need any help in creating life, unlike a woman would. But please go on.
If you want to go to church, you usually have to give a donation.
Who can guess where this is going?
Like, you go in correctly, and he wants to go on a date with you 50-50, he wants to split the bill, he wants to do all of that. No. If you're gonna come to the temple, come correctly or don't come at all, baby.
How very charming. Indeed, one could go so far as to say, almost downright amazing. that during the process of that entire analogy, and especially right at the end there, one actually managed to make it sound like one big pay-to-play situation.
This man just made the grave mistake of catcalling me from his car while I was walking my dog.
Okay, I think most people would consider that to be rather childish and rude, but why are we making a video about it?
I looked up his license plate.
Oh dear.
And did you know it's really easy to find someone's address? Yeah.
Now, why exactly would a person do that?
Do you know how easy it is to mail someone a box of wasps and asbestos and other things that they probably don't want to open?
Okay, well, personally, I don't approve of catcalling from anyone to anyone. However, I'm not quite sure that it needs to resort to this level of sending harmful things through the mail. Pretty sure there's a law about that somewhere.
Anyway, protect female rage.
I don't think I would call that so much rage, more as an extreme overreaction to an individual's, albeit rude, behavior.
Okay, I know that this is like bad to say. I know it's bad.
Oh, then it should be really fun to hear.
I think one of the lamest things you can do as a woman is have a husband.
No, in point of fact, that is not one of the lamest things that a woman can do. But please continue with this demonstration.
I think it's really lame.
I can in fact think of many things that are much more lame than that.
Whenever I'm talking to somebody who I think is like somewhat cool and suddenly they're like, oh, my husband, I'm instantly like, oh, here, what? Gross.
I think it's high time that we truly appreciated when someone demonstrates exactly the behaviors that they're talking about.
I'm thinking that we take all men to Alcatraz Island.
All men, huh? To Alcatraz Island? Yeah, I don't think they're gonna fit there. But what exactly is the reason for this?
And they are not allowed to leave until they take a lesson on how to revert their internalized misogyny.
Oh, goody goody. Another individual that happens to think that all men are somehow the same.
And only until they've passed a test that we women decide, are they allowed to leave Alcatraz Island.
We women, huh? Well, there's a small problem with that. But I do understand that since an individual thinks that all men are somehow the same, that they naturally would think that all women think the same, when that's obviously not the case, because some of us actually understand that men are not a monolith. They are individuals.
Let me know what you think. I think it could be great.
What I think? I think that there are some individuals out there who are definitely not ready to hear precisely what I think.
No, because, like, how do you expect me to be submissive to you if you don't have any money?
The type of person that submits only if there's money involved. Right.
What am I submitting to? Poverty? Ew.
I mean, if a person's okay with being called any of the numerous names that that type of behavior is called, then by all means, who am I to judge?
This is not going to come out and work out the way you want it to work out. This is easily reversible. I'm not going to do anything for you. I'm not going to give you flowers. I'm not going to pay for a date if you don't put out. That's easily reversible, and y'all know y'all don't like that.
Stop dating men with children.
Let me guess. This is a preference, right? For women, it's perfectly acceptable as long as it's about men. But if men prefer not to date women with children or single moms, then that's a problem.
Men with children either want to still be with their baby mama, are secretly sleeping with their baby mama, or they're wanting to be sleeping with their baby mama.
Oh, those are very specific. It sounds like someone had some possible personal experience in that area.
By some slim ass chance that that's not true, the drama and the that comes along with dating a man with children, especially if you don't have children, don't you do it. You will lose your mind, you will lose yourself, and you will never be a priority to a man that has children.
I would like to point out that this is almost the exact same argument that some men that choose not to date single mothers actually use, and then it's considered to be inappropriate or wrong.
Now, you don't have to listen to me.
Well, thank heaven for that.
But once this video gets out on this FYP and people start commenting, come back to this video.
To what? Giggle about the fact that this happens to be so very similar to a lot of videos that some men make that a lot of women detest?
What could possibly be on that man's phone that is more interesting and
What's really going on here? So many women complain about being objectified, yet there are others that complain when they aren't. Can't have it both ways.
You know how I know that so many of these far-right guys are actually gay?
They must mean happy, right? You know, the original meaning of that word. I would really not like to think that someone would try to disparage a group of people, insinuating that it's a bad thing to not be straight based on someone's political affiliation. Wouldn't be doing that, now would they?
Is because they're trying to get closer to God than they are to getting a wife.
All right, I guess they are trying to be disparaging, not just against one group of people, but against 3 distinct groups of people based on their membership of a particular group. Gee, I wonder what that kind of prejudicial thinking is actually called. Oh wait, bigotry.
They're trying to get closer to an imaginary man than they are to actually trying to get a wife.
I wonder how well that particular statement's going to go over with a large percentage of the entire world's population that actually believe in religion.
Sir, the signs are there.
And the signs of someone being bigoted in their thinking are more than clear.
Have you ever noticed that in order to accommodate the male ego...
Oh, is someone actually trying to imply that all men have the same type of male ego?
Whenever you get with a man, you have to make yourself smaller?
No. Can't say that that's ever actually been a problem.
Dim your light? Hold back on your dreams and accomplishments?
No. Haven't had to encounter that, but there's a reason for that.
And just become less of yourself?
I'm noticing a rather common theme here.
Less brilliant, less adventurous, less free. Just smaller.
No. But I will say this about that. If any individual, whether it be a man or a woman, finds themselves in a relationship, whether it be a friendship or a romantic relationship with another person who seems to want them to diminish themselves, then that person is not worthy of being in a relationship with that person. Because no one should ever ask another person to change who they are to be in a relationship with them. And I highly recommend that if this is something that a person has to keep doing over and over again, that they learn to choose better people to be in relationships with.
At this point, men are so pathetic to me, honestly.
Oh, really? Why is it this time? Did they breathe too loudly or something?
As they've let the patriarchy train them into submission like dogs.
Oh, the good old patriarchy. The favorite buzzword of those individuals that don't actually know how to form a valid argument using rational thought.
Let me explain.
Oh, please do. But yeah, we're not going to watch all 5 minutes and 30-odd seconds of this video.
The way that the patriarchy works, the reason that it has so much pull on men, is because it first deprives them of all of their humanity. That's why we say things like, oh, men are only allowed to express anger as an emotion. Men are lonely. They are uncreative. They are stuck in their mom's basement.
I really miss a time when rational thought and critical thinking was actually encouraged for individuals to actually be able to form some sort of valid argument.
Masculinity and the patriarchy and all of these ideas that they've been given by really the ruling class.
I wonder how many buzzwords and pop culture references can one person make in a single video?
Patriarchy is a way for men to first and foremost control other men.
Oh goodness, don't pull something.
Women definitely play a part in that. Women are definitely oppressed as well. Women are actually more controlled by the fact that they're expected to take on all the humanity of the world.
Just stop. Stop right there. I mean, seriously, this false narrative that women are actually oppressed in the United States is really getting old, and repeating it over and over again is not going to make it true.
I think we should normalize taking our mother's last name.
Wait. Just wait.
Because how many of us are going around carrying the last name of a man who did not raise us?
So that means that a lot of individuals out there would in fact be taking the name of their grandfather. Probably in many cases another individual that did not raise you. I'm just going to leave that there.
You know, you guys really don't understand how your words affect your relationship. And y'all be so quick to leave. Think about a child that's always ungrateful. No matter how hard you work day and night, no matter how much money you give them, no matter how much you try to give them experiences that they themselves asked for, they're always complaining. You try to take them to therapy, see what's wrong. You try to ask your friends and family, see what's wrong. You try to ask your pastor, you try to pray about it, you try everything, but they're never, ever grateful. Now you think it's just a phase when they're young children. So, that's how children are. They don't know. They don't understand. They don't grasp the world, how it is. And, I have to have grace and mercy for that. But when the child gets grown up into their 18, 19, 20, past that, still complaining in their late 20s, early 30s, at some point in time as a parent, you're like, man, I can never do anything right. And then the child starts to lie on you. How do you think that you would feel? Bad. Well, mama ain't never done nothing for me. She ain't never worked for me. She ain't never cared about. What are you talking about? It's a verifiable fact that I've been doing these things. Anybody and everybody in the community would tell you that I was doing things to make you happy to the detriment of my health. And I never, well, you know what? I'm just going to stop talking to you. How would you feel about that? Heartbroken, crushed. You feel like, man, ain't nothing I could do. Why did I even have a child? Why am I even here? That's how you would feel, because a child is always ungrateful. That's how a lot of you women are with men in y'all's relationships. Y'all sit up here and talk trash about men. You bash men. You put men down. It don't matter what they do. It's never enough. Oh man, you 5'6"? Ugh, I don't need that. But I was just giving you whatever you wanted. Yeah, but you don't meet my height requirements. Okay, at first I think it's a phase. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I need to grow as a man. I try to do all of those things. She wants me to go to therapy. Let's go to therapy. She wants me to go to church more. Let's go to church more. But it doesn't seem like anything I do ever is going to be enough for you. It's never going to be good enough for you. And finally, after some point in time, you decide to leave me and take half of what I didn't build. Spent 20, 30, 40 years trying to build and give and pour into you and make the investment, like y'all say, into you. You want nice restaurants? I give that to you as much as I can. I can't go out there and spend $400, $500, $600, $700 off rip. I got to work up to that. And you know how many shifts I had to do to work up to that and pay the bills and then give you the whole experience so that you can feel as good as your friends that you saw down the street or some of these women that you see on social media that got it like that. Countless months, countless years to do that. And you're never, ever satisfied. Why would a man want to be a part of that? And then you're taking me. And then when you get out of the relationship, you start trashing him. Not only to your friends, but to his friends. And you try to turn his friends against him. Get a grip, guys. Get a grip.
Things that men over 40 do that tell you he's a...
Let's play a game called the equality game.
If your man is over 40 and dyes his hair, he is a special kind of... This is a man that is not confident with who he is, aging, or whatever else, and is vain. And who the man that's vain?
In the spirit of equality, if women dye their hair, that means they're taking care of themselves and taking pride of their appearance. But if it's a man, oh, heaven forbid.
If he needs to be the pretty one in the relationship.
I think if anyone needs to be the pretty one in a relationship, they've got more issues to deal with than we can talk about here.
If he is over 40 and is not going to let you be the pretty one in the relationship, insecure again?
A true sign of insecurity is someone who cannot let another person just be themselves without trying to tear them down.
If you are over 40 and you're a grown man that has social media and it's not Facebook to catch up with your great Aunt Tilly, you're...
Oh, well, that's just awkward in this case, now isn't it?
Unless it's like your business and you're in the entertainment industry or you need some sort of social media that you have an assistant run for you, a grown man over 40 should not be on social media.
Let's hear it for the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen.
You know about your husband who's over 40 and not your boyfriend? Sweetie, I am so sorry. It might be time for you to consider taking on a lover. Because you're married to a dude. He talks to my friends.
If nothing else, at least they're confident and comfortable in their own toxicity.
She's joking. I refuse to believe that this is serious. She's playing around.
He's worried about you using him for his money. It's probably because he doesn't have enough money for you to use.
Well, on that note, if that's true, then I guess there's a lot of women out there that have nothing to worry about if they're worried about being used for their looks.
Can someone tell me why guys just aren't trying anymore?
Well, sure, I can explain that. It's because a lot of women, or rather I should say, the loudest women out there, have actually demonstrated quite well that there's nothing worth trying for.
They can't even take us out for like a simple date. I keep seeing on the internet how everyone keeps getting treated.
Really? Everyone?
And I'm just like, we can't even get the bare minimum?
But what exactly constitutes the bare minimum? No one can seem to come to a consensus on that. So that is a large part of the problem. Some individuals think that $200 first dates are the bare minimum, while others are actually just satisfied with coffee. So some really have to make up their minds.
And it's really sad that it's like a universal kind of experience.
No, it's really not universal, because a lot of women are having absolutely no problem at all dating, while others seem to be having quite a time of it.
It's so easy to please us.
Really?
I would enjoy just someone visiting me at work and bringing me my favorite coffee. How hard is that?
See, that's not an unreasonable expectation, but there are those women out there who seem to want the moon, but couldn't even tell a person where in the solar system it is.
Real men do not care if you have a shopping problem, because at least you don't have a cheating problem.
Just my humble opinion. But I think that a real man, a good and true partner, would actually have quite a lot of problems with both of those things. Because cheating, as I believe most of us already know, is very bad for a relationship and rather indicates that a person probably has a lot of personal issues that they need to work through. However, the same could be said for someone with a shopping problem, because not only does that show a lack of self-control, but also a lack of respect for finances and possibly an inability to manage money.
If a man says he wants you to be his piece, that man is chaos. He cannot self-regulate, and he wants a woman who will not hold him accountable, and you can believe that.
The ironic part about that is that any woman that would respond that way to being asked to be a man's piece has actually never found peace themselves, therefore doesn't know how to bring it to anybody else, so naturally they would think that way. If a person doesn't know what the definition of a term actually is, it's a whole lot easier just to admit it than to make an entire post demonstrating it.
I need y'all's advice.
I believe that.
Just came across the guy I've been dating on Are We Dating the Same Guy? And apparently he's had 2 other girlfriends the entire time we've been dating.
Dating. Okay. So was there ever a promise of exclusivity in the beginning of this dating relationship? Because that's rather important, but I have a feeling that that does not matter.
And I'm just curious if you guys think I should share his picture here and ruin his life.
I think that someone seriously needs to find a different hobby other than social media. It's amazing how social media has actually empowered so many individuals to attempt to ruin someone's life over something like they're dating someone else at the same time. There are real problems in this world, but I guess we don't want to talk about that now, do we?
Because I definitely feel like I have the ability to do so, given my following. And I know he's shaking in his boots because he texted me the other day asking if I've ever posted him on social media. I am very tempted to ruin his life because it would not be hard. I know I could go viral because y'all would share and like and follow as long as we have this app. And, you know, I'm just feeling extremely jaded.
That much is incredibly obvious, and apparently we have reached the point where social media is used for nothing more than airing our dirty laundry and trying to ruin the lives of someone over a dating disagreement. Some individuals really need to grow up.
Ladies, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible.
Oh, goody.
If you want to still go on free dates and walking dates with guys in 2025, you can, but you get what you're willing to accept.
Well, that's good, right? Because contrary to what some would have us believe, the first few dates are actually for 2 people to get to know each other to see if they're compatible. There's no need to spend a lot of money on the first few dates. I mean, honestly, that's just silly and, in my opinion, a waste of hard-earned money. But go on.
If you want to go on coffee dates, by all means, go ahead, but you get what you're willing to accept. If you want to go over to a guy's house for a first date, and watch movies, you can.
Isn't it just nice that they gave their blessings on that?
But know that you're going to get what you're willing to accept. And if he's not going to put an effort to get you, he's not going to put an effort to keep you.
I'm sure this might come as a foreign concept to some, but effort doesn't always equal the amount of money spent.
So, I would generally suggest working on your self-worth and raising your standards, but that's just me.
By the way, those that actually already have self-worth and self-esteem don't need to rely on the opinions of others to make them feel better.
Men will deny this, but they're lying when they say they want peace.
Okay then, what do they really want?
They love selfish, independent, unbothered women that are difficult and stress them out.
No, they don't. That's just what those types of women tell themselves so they can justify their own poor behaviors.
Women that are too nice and predictable don't give them enough to worry about.
And those are the types of women that actually find healthy relationships.
Why are some of you lying about your height?
Well, to play devil's advocate, there could be a lot of reasons for that, actually.
Why do you say that you're 6 foot on Hinge and then in person you're 5'10" on a good day?
Probably for the same reason that a lot of women out there wouldn't be honest about their weight. Because they're worried that they wouldn't be given a chance otherwise.
To find a boyfriend on TikTok?
Oh my goodness.
I'm sticking out my yacht for the Rizzler. I'm so skibbity, so phantom tax.
I don't think it's going to get any better.
I just wanna be your Sigma.
Sometimes it's really unfortunate to be right.
I told you we needed more glitter.
Make it stop. But then again, I got sent this, so if I have to watch it, so do all of you.
But seriously, guess my zodiac sign when you join the chat and then tell me yours. So say I think you're a Capricorn and I am a Pisces.
Oh my goodness, TikTok is really not a dating app. Seriously.
I got recoil. Gotta recoil that donk.
I wonder if this dating experiment will end well.
Gotta recoil that donk. Gotta recoil that donk is crazy. She gotta be selling a service or something. She has to be.
Interesting. But on the other hand, if men stopped dating women just for their looks, then there'd be a lot more single women out there.
How can you be balding and still ghost me?
Well, if we're going to say that a person should act a certain way while dating based on how they look, then there's a lot of people in for a rough time of it, because they certainly don't have the personalities to make up for their appearance.
When you're tossing, when you turn in your sleep.
Being called what a person biologically is now offensive. Got it. No, a person chooses to become a misandrist. I mean, honestly, that's the same type of logic that racists use to try to justify their bigotry. And it's not excused then either, is it? So just because someone had a few or even a lot of bad experiences with men, that does not mean that the entire population of men deserves a person's hatred. Because that is what misandry is, the hatred of men. So please, try to justify a person's bigotry elsewhere.
At the end of the day, Ronnie, I am a man who's gay.
I'm sorry, did I miss a memo or something? Is it okay again to try to use someone's orientation as an insult to someone to try to get them to do something that you want them to do? That's rather implying that if someone isn't straight, then there's something wrong with them. When did that become acceptable again? Because I see a lot of women doing this when they're talking about men that don't do what they want them to do. It's not really a very good look, ladies.
Stop approaching women you know you cannot afford. You already see the woman's lifestyle. You see how she living.
So if she's already living that lifestyle all on her own, what exactly is the issue?
You know you can't afford it. Now when she asks you for money to upkeep the lifestyle that she's already living.
Wait. What exactly are these women in these scenarios doing? Why would they be asking men for money in the first place? I thought these women were strong and independent and could do things all on their own, and obviously they've been maintaining their lifestyles beforehand, but yet they would ask men for money while they're dating. That's rather giving the impression that some women aren't as strong and independent as they want everyone else to think that they are. It's either that, or they just view men as walking ATMs. So which one is it?
You want to get an attitude. Go be with your type. She's not your type.
Right. They should be with their type, shouldn't they? The type of women that actually want a relationship and don't view men as just a means to an end. Well, I don't think I've seen a better example of a slap in the face to all those individuals that worked for years for women to be seen as equals to men in modern society. I mean, that almost takes the cake, really. Ironically, that very statement is the same one that was used and is still used today in many parts of the world to justify not treating women as equals to men, because there's biological differences. I think most of us are very much aware that there are biological differences between women and men. But what exactly is the overall goal here in regards to making a statement as that? Do some women not want to be treated as equals to men? What's the purpose of making that statement? Because it seems that a lot of women out there seem to want to not be treated as equals to men, but they in fact want to be treated as better than men. They want all of the rights, but none of the responsibilities, which is really sad. But again, I'm just going to say that that initial statement was just a slap in the face to all of those people that worked so hard for years to get women to be seen as equals.
I don't feel sorry that you're broke.
And I don't feel sorry for the willfully uninformed, so where does that leave us?
You're broke because you choose to be broke. In
Tell that to the thousands, if not millions of people that are actually unable to work and see how that goes.
this life, we get what we settle for. If you're not making the money that you want to make, it's your fault.
Wow.
So you can either keep complaining that you're barely making any money, that you hate your boss, you hate your life, or you can do something about it. Don't complain to me because I don't feel sorry for you.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of an elitist mentality who does not understand that there are some people out there that actually physically cannot go to work. There are no jobs in the areas in which they live, or they're unable to move. But they tend to conceal information like that in books.
You might think I'm crazy.
You can't prove somebody wrong who's already convinced of their own opinion. No amount of facts or logic will dissuade that person from believing exactly what they want.
Honestly, I kind of get what she's saying here. She's coming at it from the angle, or I assume she is, of those who are hustling or wanting to hustle and saying they want to make money. They're able to do that. But then they're sitting at home talking about, well, I don't know how to do it. If you want to get out of that situation, you can. If you want to make some money, get out there and start making it happen. But until then, sit down and be quiet.
My version of feminism is
And what version of feminism is that?
actually the men pay for everything and I make my own money and I keep it all.
See, real feminism is actually about equality. I don't see anything equal in that arrangement.
I support women working and going to school and having rights to vote.
Oh, well, there we go. Someone actually got part of it right.
Women are meant to be treated like gods.
Well, that statement has absolutely nothing to do with anything in regards to feminism.
And I know that you probably don't have the money for it, but lots of men do this.
Yeah, and there's one of those born every minute.
Because lots of men make enough money to pay the bills and let the woman keep her money. That is true feminism.
It's always entertaining to watch someone talk about a subject that they obviously know nothing about.
And I also don't think women should live with men. That is another layer of this. There is no reason for women to live with a man.
Oh? Now, why is that?
Unless he's paying for everything.
Oh, so basically then the woman would be absolutely 100% completely and totally dependent on the man for everything. Yes, how very feminist-minded.
And because women have the right to live alone now, that is also very feminist.
Oh, good grief.
I know it's really confusing, but we'll get there step by step.
Probably about the same time when someone learns what feminism actually means.
Once again, and Myron has said this, women want to live life on easy mode. Some women, I'll be fair. Some women want to live life on easy mode. I want the option not to do anything. I want the option to say, you know what? Now I want to get out in front. Now I want to lead. You've been leading this whole time, but when we get to the finish line, that's when I want to jump in the driver's seat and drive us home. That's what I want to do. Well, you know, we pulled in. Whoo, we made it. You only drove the last 15 minutes of the trip. Yeah, but I did something. Hey, it's just as equal because you really needed that. I drove the entire way. You didn't really do anything. Why are you getting credit for something that you didn't actually do? Isn't that what y'all say to men? If they were to say, well, I'm just as important in the pregnancy. What do they say to men? Never say that. The woman is carrying more of the load than you are during pregnancy. That's what they say. That's what they say. And so if a man has to sit back and be quiet and can't take credit, why do you think that you can take all the credit? Why is it not equal? Why don't y'all work together? Because that's not what you want to do. You want a man to be beneath you. And men hear that and they understand that. Y'all dress it up with all these other words and y'all say, I just want a man to take care of me. I want a provider. I want a man that's nice to women. I want a man that doesn't hate women, yada, yada, yada. But you actually don't want that. Not you. Not women like you. Y'all want a man to be subservient. Y'all think men are beneath y'all. Y'all think men aren't as good as y'all. Y'all think that y'all are smarter, more educated, know more about the world than men do, and walking on the roads that men paved, and driving the cars that men built for you, manufactured and put together, working on the assembly line for you guys. Y'all are doing everything. Y'all are using and utilizing many of the things that men built. And then getting in the driver's seat or getting in these executive meetings and saying, oh, look what we did. Look what we accomplished. You didn't accomplish anything. You just ran your mouth. You didn't do anything. And men are tired of hearing that. So when a man steps back and he says, okay, you know how to protect yourself since you're doing it. Go ahead. And then you get mad at him like, well, why didn't you do the one thing that you're good at? Because you seem to have had it. Strong, independent woman. I was so intimidated by you. I didn't even want to come close to you. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, you sassy now. You sassy. Who would say that? Oh. So you're not sassy for talking all that noise and not being able to back it up? What's up? You're going to have to, at some point in time, if I play football or basketball and I'm talking trash, if I'm golfing, if I'm out, oh man, you know I can catch the biggest fish. Guess what God's gonna do? Okay, let's go on the lake right now. Let's see it. Let's go out there right now. Let's see it. Oh man, you know I can hunt game. I can do that. Okay, let's go out and see it right now. Wait, I got some tools in the shed. Let's go out. You're gonna have to prove it. You ladies, women like you live in a world where you don't have to prove anything. You can just talk, and you get in by talking. And y'all just sit up there and blow smoke up each other's behinds all day long. And a man is saying, okay, let's see what you got. And you don't want to hear that. And man said, okay, until you put up, then get over there and shut up. And you don't like that. But men are never going to change. They're never going to adapt to the foolishness. It's not in their nature to do that. You know what? We don't deal with women because they don't know how to back up the stuff that they're talking about. We want a man that communicates effectively and then can't communicate yourself. Go out and do the reverse. I want a nice guy, a good guy, and then go out there and pass the nice guy up, put him in your friend zone, and then go date the toxic guy that's going to power slam you through a couch every single Tuesday. Oh, I want a man to take care of me and provide for me. Man, oh, you don't make enough money, but I'm providing for you. Yeah, but you only make $55,000. Only $55,000? Yeah, only $55,000. I make way more than that. Okay, then help me pay for something. Nah, my dad paid for everything, and he was, it's always something. It's always something. Men don't want to be bothered with that, man. They'd rather stay single and peaceful.